Hello, I'm Glenn Lyons from the University of the West of England's Centre for Transport and Society. This is the third in a series about surprising things you never knew about transport. I'd like to talk to you about travel time. What does the amount of time that you spend travelling every day mean to you? Are you anxious to get to your destinations as quickly as possible and frustrated by delay? Or conversely, do you perhaps relish and welcome your travel time as an important reprieve from your obligations and the expectations of others? The way we interpret travel time is possibly the most important aspect of transport in terms of how it has shaped and supported society and how it will continue to do so in future. The average person's waking day in Great Britain is 16 hours. And on average, an hour of that waking day is spent travelling, excluding travelling abroad. That's 6% of our waking day. It doesn't sound much, does it? But if you consider, in fact, the total population of the UK or of Great Britain at around 62 million people, then the amount of travel taking place overall equates to over 22 billion hours every year. That's millions of waking person years. Now that's a lot of travel time. How we make sense of travel time, both as travellers but also as policymakers responsible for major investment decisions, has profound consequences. Travelling has traditionally been seen in transport planning as a means to an end. We go from A to B in order to participate in an activity at B. It follows then, especially for travelling during the course of work, that getting from A to B more quickly should be a good thing. And indeed, speeding up journeys has been the principal justification for ongoing investment in the development and expansion of our transport system. Economic appraisal of proposed new transport schemes has, for over half a century, made the assumption that for travel during the course of work, travel time is unproductive, wasted time. And it follows that if journey times can be reduced, then the saved travel time can be turned to productive use, which then has economic value. That economic value adds up to benefits which can outweigh the cost of investing in the scheme in question, which gives justification to any political decision to proceed with that investment. Put simply, the assumption that travel time is a cost to the economy has profound consequences for the shaping of our transport system, but in turn patterns of land use and ultimately society itself. Let's consider the case of high-speed rail in Great Britain. The economic case for High Speed 2, as reported in 2012, estimated the total scheme cost to be in excess of £58 billion. The net cost, after taking account of revenues from use of high-speed rail, is still comfortably outweighed by the transport user benefits that are estimated to result. And over half of those benefits are identified as being attributable to travel time savings and the assumption made about the economic value attached to those savings. This has now become a major bone of contention. Can it really be the case that travel time is wasted and unproductive, and that we can therefore attach economic value to major investments which save that travel time? Well, even the Department for Transport in the UK is revisiting how it values savings in travel time. And indeed, questions are increasingly being asked about how people are using their travel time in the knowledge economy. Research here at the University of the West of England, involving the National Rail Passengers Survey, has examined how people use their time during train travel. We found in 2010 that for business travellers, the main activity that the majority of people engaged in during their rail journeys was working or studying. And around 90% of business travellers told us that their time on the train was either very worthwhile or of some use. Considering all rail passengers, then the prevalence of working or studying as the main activity people engage in peaks for journeys of between 1 and 3 hours. This may suggest that journeys that are made too short or too long lend themselves to being less attractive for working or studying and hence productive time use. Between 2004 and 2010, our research revealed that the incidence and availability of mobile technologies within the travelling environment had increased substantially, concurrently with rail travellers increasingly inclined to indicate that their travel time had been very worthwhile. Other social research here at the Centre for Transport and Society has examined the meaning of travel time. This reveals notions of travel time as time for transition, selfish time, or time out. The travel environment can represent an important isolation from others, a time for selfish indulgence, a place to rest and relax, or to think and reflect, perhaps to sleep. So it would seem that this 6% of our waking day, far from being an inconvenience, may at least to some extent be viewed as a welcome gift, something important and perhaps essential to our everyday lives. To sum up, our interpretation of travel time really matters. But like many issues in transport, the matter is more complex than it might first appear. Here at the University of the West of England, we attach a lot of importance to viewing such matters from different perspectives, so that, as transport professionals, we can develop a more rounded understanding of the issues that we're dealing with. If this has been of interest to you and you would like to learn more, you may wish to consider our Transport Masters programmes in Transport Engineering and Planning and also in Transport Planning here at the University of the West of England. Thank you for listening.